Thanks for joining us here on ARC Salt Lake. I'm Brian Schnee. Happy Friday. It is December 19th. Tonight we're taking a look at tomorrow's jersey exchange for the Utah Jazz and those fans in a conversation with team owner Ryan Smith. But first, a 2 News town hall looking at a new map rolled out by the Utah Division of Forestry, Fire and State Lands about homeowners and where they fall into it with the wildland-urban interface. So looking into HB 48, which is a topic of discussion, even though it's not your traditional fire season, if you will. Jamie Barnes, Tommy Thompson here from the Division of Forestry, Fire and State Lands. What is HB 48 and why has it gotten so much conversation over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so HB 48 is a bill that the legislature took charge at this year to really take a new stab at wildfire in the state of Utah and address the issues that we're facing this year with wildfire. As you know, this year we've seen a really big wildfire season. A lot of structures lost this year, and also those high-risk wildland-urban interface areas were prone for wildfire this year. Over the last about 4 to 5 years, we've seen insurance issues with regard to wildfire, and we've seen high costs on wildfire. So really determining where that risk is something that the legislature was interested in, and mapping that area, and then trying to get a handle on where exactly is that high risk in communities, how can we increase shared responsibility around that, and how can we start to really protect our communities. And so what we did is, out of a study out of HB 437, we took a step further at mapping those high-risk wildland-urban interface areas, and now we know exactly how many structures are in those high-risk wildland-urban interface areas.
You talked about a lot of different things, including the insurance angle. I want to get to that in a moment. Tommy, let's step over to the map here and take a look at what is happening in terms of this very useful piece of technology, right? You have a lot of different layers on this map. Can you take us through what people should be looking at if they want to know, do I fall into a location that should be studying this map?
Yes. So there, like you said, there's a lot of information in here, but really the smooth structure exposure score is the primary one we want people to be looking at for how we built out this wildland-urban interface. So if I zoom in to an area right here, we basically have modeled all of the vegetation, added the weather variables in there, the historic fire patterns, and put it into this structure exposure score, and even modeled where embers are going to be landing.
Now, what do the colors represent? People see on their screens right now.
So as you can see, there's a legend down here at the bottom. So what we're looking at right now is the extreme exposure. So the darkest red will be the extreme exposure. And the one above that is the SES of 7, the structure exposure score of 7. So from there on, it goes down to where there's no exposure.
Now, if you were to zoom out on this map, you can do this while I ask you this question here by coming back out. There's a lot of different options for layers on this map, what should people be most focused on versus what layers should maybe we be avoiding when trying to figure out your location?
The thing that you should be focused on mostly is turning off the structure exposure score, because now is what you're looking at is the actual results. So this is where you actually have the high-risk wildland urban interface. And so roughly 95% of the homes out there fall outside of this. 5% of the homes actually fall within inside of this.
Anything else with this map you feel is very important for people to know if they live in bench areas or canyon spots or places where you feel like maybe they would be represented on this map?
Yeah, so I think maybe one of the first places, if someone's interested to see if their home is in there, you would come up here and type in your address, and that will pull up exactly where your address is in correlation to where those high-risk wildland urban interfaces are. But over here, really the thing that we want people to focus on is the high-risk wildland urban properties. So WUI is what we call it.
Okay, we'll keep it on the map here for just a moment. We'll head back over and talk to Jamie real quick about a bunch of the different things that you brought up. Insurance is obviously the talker right now. People say, oh, we're going to use this as an opportunity to kind of look ahead and increase premiums and such. What is the real purpose of all of this, and how has insurance already been looking into this, even without this map?
Yeah, so there's been concerns about once this map is rolled out, insurance companies will now know that my home is in the high-risk WUI. The reality of that is your insurance company knows if your home is in the high-risk WUI. The purpose of this bill was to really create standardized mapping across the board so that we know that where that high-risk WUI boundary actually is. The bill specifically says now that an insurance company in Utah has to use this map with regard to the high-risk WUI boundary.
As part of HB 48, there's finances involved. So what does that look like for the homeowner, and where does it go?
Yeah, so we're still in the process of developing fees for those structures that are located in that high-risk WUI boundary. The fees aren't punitive in nature. The fees are that shared responsibility of people choosing to live in that area. The fees are very minimal. The division will come in and do lot assessments if people desire. Those are on an educational basis for you to mitigate those fuels and that risk around your home. As our deputy state fire management officer says, the best firefighter is the property owner before the fire happens. Mitigating those fuels beforehand is very important instead of when the fire is occurring.
There's a lot of states that have taken a stab at something like this. There's not a lot of states that have been successful with something like this. How long has this been in the works? And could this be a model for other states in the Western U.S. to be saying, hey, we should be rolling out something similar, so that way everyone's kind of informed with the same knowledge, including just people who may not be in the WUI or people that may move into that area and just need a better understanding about this whole process?
Yeah, so we've been mapping risk here in Utah for quite some time, for more than 5 to 10 years here in Utah. We haven't been mapping risk under URAP for the purpose of determining high-risk WUI areas to charge a fee and to relate that to insurance, but now we are. I believe we can be successful here in Utah with that if we focus on that shared responsibility and we focus on the true reason, and that's really mitigating fuels and mitigating the wildfire risk here in Utah. That's what will make us all successful.
Tommy, Jamie, thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you.
That conversation from earlier this afternoon. Now, as we've reported before this map even came out, homes in these high-risk fire areas could be at risk for higher premiums on their home insurance or losing coverage altogether. We've done numerous reports on this. We spoke to an insurance agent who says being proactive around property could help keep your home insured.
So, when the company comes out and says, yes, we'll insure this home, it must have a defensible space by 30 feet, for example, and I'm just using that as an example, and you must have a metal roof, okay? That will make an impact on whether a company may insure you and they have a reasonable rate.
Since 2011, Utah has built 6,100 new homes in high-risk wildfire areas, second only to California. Head to our KUTV YouTube page where you can find our past reporting on wildfire safety and interviews with fire crews for tips on how to stay fire aware and protect your property. Coming up here on Arc Salt Lake just in time for the holidays, you can get a brand new Jazz jersey by trading in an old one. I spoke with team owner Ryan Smith about tomorrow's jersey exchange and what else fans can walk away with. Tomorrow you can get a new Jazz jersey just in time for the holidays. You just need to bring your old official jersey and trade it out. The first 2,000 Jazz fans can bring an official Jazz jersey to Delta Center and exchange it for a new mountain-themed jersey. Plus, each fan who participates gets 2 tickets for an upcoming game. I spoke with Jazz owner Ryan Smith about this and the Utah Mammoth and more fan activations. Take a listen.
Our fans really took us to this Purple Mountain in mountain basketball, and I think it's here to stay. And we had to go through some pretty unpopular times to get there, but you know, I'm a believer in iteration, and we're constantly iterating. With the Mammoth, we came out and got it right. We just went right to the fans at the beginning, and like, it's beautiful. We couldn't be more excited of where we ended up with Purple and Mountains, and we want those out. I mean, it's 2,000 people in the arena, more wearing purple and our jerseys. And when you look out in the bowl, it looks pretty cool when everyone's in uniform.
What have you learned from the Mountain menu and how much that means to your fan base?
I think the rest of the NBA has copied what we've done. And, I come from a feedback background, and, water at $6 and $5 a bottle was the number one thing our fans thought was not a great experience. And the problem is you're contracted with vendors. And so similar to the jerseys that we're doing, it's how do you develop a relationship with your partners where you're aligned for the same experience, even if it hurts the bottom line. And so going with Levy, for example, and presenting our case to say, hey, look, you do a great job, and we have all of these different vendors, whether it's J-Dogs or Cubbies or Chick-fil-A, they're all selling water too. And so how do you get everyone to come in, or a hot dog or something, and be able to offer something that's affordable, and getting everyone kind of singing from the same hymn book is like, hey, this is what we have to do. And I think looking back, it was pretty incredible. And it's kind of been adopted by the entire NBA now.
The Jazz Bear's been out there forever, since the early to mid 90s. And you're rolling out a brand new mascot for a professional franchise in the same building as the most iconic mascot in Utah, and arguably in the league, arguably for many people all across the nation. What has that been like in terms of how you felt of the fans have received Tusky into their lives?
Well, anytime you launch anything right now, I remember when we did the fan vote for the name of hockey, like I was on Pat McAfee, and McAfee's like, you're really putting this out on the internet? Do you know what it's like out there? And so anytime you release anything, 60-40 positivity is probably a win. And so when Tusky came out, I remember I hadn't seen Tusky, and our governor was at the game. We hadn't seen him, and I was asking around, has anyone seen what this mascot looks like? I had seen a picture on my phone, but I've been in this long enough that the phone's very different than when something shows up in real life. So we went back into the dressing room, and I was with my kids, and I said, we got to see Tusky before we just roll it out on the ice. And we went in there, and Tusky, because you can kind of mess that one up in a couple different ways, but like Tusky was there, and I was looking at it, but then I looked down at my 9-year-old, 11-year-old, and 13-year-old, and their eyes were like they'd seen Mickey Mouse. And I was like, all right, nothing else matters. Like, it actually doesn't matter what I think about Tusky. And it's a little bit that way with our jerseys and everything else. Like, it's really about what our fans think. The mascots are for the kids. And like, I hate to be that blunt with it. That's exactly what it's for. And it's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. And I actually think the entire brand launch of hockey could not have gone better. The fans voted for it. Mammoth trended up. The mascot, the color schemes, and it's hard. It's hard to launch a brand publicly in today's world. And I think that, it's been pretty cool to see the adoption, and, we love wearing the stuff, and it never gets old looking at that logo mark of our Tuss and Tuss Up. It's pretty cool.
Mammoth in action tonight. Right now, Delta Center, downtown Salt Lake, taking on the New Jersey Devils. Enjoyed the conversation with Ryan. There's more of it, a longer version. We played 5 minutes, but longer version on our YouTube page right now. We talk about the Southtown Mall and all the changes going on there. Let's get to your forecast. Meteorologist Chase Thomason joins us now with a look at what's going on this weekend.
Very close to a record high temperature earlier today. You can thank those gusty southwest winds. We made it to 60 degrees in Salt Lake City, just one shy of that record back in 1917. It's December. We're supposed to be in the upper 30s, so very unusual. Why do we have all this warm weather? Well, we've had those strong southwest winds. We're tapping into an atmospheric river, which has a lot of tropical moisture originating from Hawaii, and it's pulling in that warm air mass into the entire state of Utah as the cold air stays north of the jet stream and well north of Utah. But at least we have some unsettled weather moving in, and we'll definitely see some high elevation snow, including a winter weather advisory for the western Uintas. This is 10,000 feet and above. We expect 6 to 12 inches tonight into Saturday afternoon. So the rain really fills in this evening and tonight across the central Wasatch Front. Utah County will likely be later tonight. So if you have any late evening plans, doing some last minute Christmas shopping, dinner, just bring a rain jacket or umbrella just in case. That mountain snow, though, will continue for most of the night and into tomorrow morning, and maybe even a few spotty showers in central Utah. Then we'll see a break, though, Saturday afternoon. So it's not going to be raining and snowing the entire weekend. It'll be on and off. Right now, it looks like a 1/4 inch of rain here along the Wasatch Front through tomorrow, but maybe some higher totals, especially in the Wasatch back like Park City. And it'll be mainly rain in Park City, but you might get a little bit of snow at times. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of those higher mountain valleys gets a dusting to an inch or two. Those ski resorts, though, picking up about 2 to 8 inches of snow over the next 24 more hours. Temperatures for tomorrow, a little bit cooler than today. Remember, we hit 60. We'll see highs near 50 degrees for the Wasatch Front. A little bit cooler in Cache Valley, though, at 43 in Logan. We'll be in the low 50s in northeastern Utah, mid to upper 50s in central Utah, and St. George coming in at 61 degrees, so still very mild. All right, Saturday night looks pretty quiet and dry, but then things change by Sunday. Another little disturbance begins to roll on by. Scattered showers, but it looks like the best chance will be north of Salt Lake City, and we might see 1 or 2 lingering on Monday as well. And then a break. Tuesday, maybe a busy travel day for the upcoming holiday. It does look like a storm, though, begins to move in on Christmas Eve. Look at all that rain out in Nevada. This is Wednesday afternoon, some showers in northern and southwestern Utah, but it really begins to fill in by Christmas morning. So it will not be a white Christmas. It's a pretty mild storm still, but valley rain will take the moisture, mountain snow, and it does look widespread throughout the day on Christmas. There's another little storm that could roll in Friday into Saturday, so it stays unsettled. This one has some colder air, so I've added maybe some snowflakes mixing in to the forecast. St. George, you're dry this weekend, low 60s, mid 60s, mostly cloudy Monday and Tuesday. Then we get a little bit of rain on and off finally for southern Utah Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with temperatures in the 50s. Salt Lake, we're at 50 for tomorrow, so a little bit cooler, but we're back into the upper 50s on Sunday. 58 on Monday, 60 on Tuesday, and 59 on Christmas Eve are record highs. Then we have more of rain, of course, with gusty winds on Christmas, with rain mixing with a little bit of snow and cooler temperatures into the 40s by the end of next week.
All right, coming up here on ARC Salt Lake, it was one of the most viral moments of the year. And now one of the people caught on the Coldplay Kiss Cam speaking out how she is responding and sharing what took place here. Next. We are hearing for the first time from one of the people caught on camera in an embarrassing moment at a Coldplay concert. You probably remember how a tech executive and her CEO boss were caught embracing on a kiss cam. In an interview with the New York Times published Thursday, Kristen Cabot says when she saw herself on screen, quote, "I was so embarrassed and so horrified. I'm the head of HR and he's the CEO. It's like so cliche and so bad." One social media video showing the incident garnered 100 million views in a matter of days.
Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Well, CEO Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot resigned from their positions at tech company Astronomer after this incident. The 33rd annual KUTV Salvation Army Angel Tree now underway. Not too late to help a child or senior in need this holiday season. Scan that QR code on your screen to make a monetary donation. You can also make a donation at any Cypress Credit Union or Smith's Marketplace. Monetary donations will be accepted until the end of the year. That'll do it for me for the next couple of days. Thanks for watching on this fine Friday. I won't see you, so Merry Christmas. Have a great weekend. Be safe, all of that good stuff. I'll see you on the socials between now and then. I'll be back on the 29th. Hope you'll join us at 7 o'clock that night. Happy holidays. Take care.